and reacts. Today, we're going to discuss the shocking incidence of anxiety and depression in liberal women, and how society uses this to further its agendas and narratives. And we're going to do this by going over an article that talks about this incidence, and the percentages of women that are diagnosed with mental health issues. So, the article discusses a 2020 survey that found that 56.3% of white liberal women under the age of 30 have a diagnosed mental health issue. I'll repeat that. 56.3% of white liberal women under that have mental health issues. That's more than half the women in that age group. Before I go on with the articles, I'll just like to say that to me, this comes as no surprise. What we have today in the dating marketplace is an epidemic. The dating marketplace is in shambles. Why? Well, because you have a whole generation of young girls who are being raised by confused feminists, who tell them that they don't need any men in their lives. So as a result, these women live their prime and fertile years chasing the corporate utopia, thinking that success in the office is going to result in success in their lives. However, when these women, after attaining a certain level of success in their careers, reach their 30s or are reaching their 30s, they start to realize that they are nearing their biological clock. When this happens, they become frantic and desperate for men. However, with more and more men going their own way, they have a really hard time finding a man because you know what? All the years of feminist training have sucked out feminine qualities that these women had. And men want that. Seriously, men want a woman who is feminine. Someone who appreciates her nurturing qualities and not living her life like a man. So when these women hit the wall, they don't know what to do with their lives anymore. And they don't see any light at the end of the proverbial tunnel, which leads them to depression. And this only increases as they go up to the age of 40. Coming back to the article, it claims that due to decreased serotonin levels in women than in men, depression is more common in women over 40. This brings to mind the statistic that 1 in 4 women take antidepressants. Additionally, antidepressants aren't at all healthful. They alter the human body in a variety of strange ways, including causing weight gain and libido issues. So, in my opinion, you should avoid anyone who is using this treatment or refrain from bringing them into your inner circle. Not that you can't. You are free to spend your time in whatever you like. Many people ignore what we say, and some of them point, sputter, and become irate. But in my opinion, you should avoid this if you desire an uncomplicated and enjoyable lifestyle. Don't take antidepressants if you want a healthy life. Accordingly, the study that looked at white liberals, moderates, and conservatives found that conservatives were much less likely than individuals who identified as either liberal or even very liberal to have their mental health difficulties diagnosed. The worst victims of all were white women. Medical professionals diagnosed mental illness in white women between the ages of 18 and 29 who were classified as liberal at a rate of 56.3% compared to 28.4% for moderates and 27.3% for conservatives. Now, that's a big number. 56.3 is almost twice as much. I don't know about you guys, but I've dated a lot of liberal women who identified with liberal values, so that's quite strange. In order to circulate this article, the doctorate candidate compiled the study's data in a collection of images, then uploaded them on a thread on Twitter. He explained the following, saying that you shouldn't make fun of white liberals or their ostensibly disproportionate incidence of mental illness either. This is an unresolved issue that may shed information on attitudes toward a new world and different social policies. White liberalism needs a reality check. White liberalism thrives on supposedly championing workers, minorities, women, and the unemployed, who they continuously see as cheated, oppressed, disenfranchised, exploited, and victims with little or no agency of their own, says a board-certified psychiatrist who has treated mental disorders for over 30 years. A perspective that frequently transforms into the patronizing and infantilizing of particular groups inside a narrative. It then goes on to discuss who is to blame, blaming racial prejudice, disease, war, ignorance, unemployment, and discrimination based on ethnicity and gender, capitalism, globalism, imperialism, and contemporary technology. That is where it stops. It doesn't discuss any of the other isms, such as feminism or Marxism. From the radical liberals' viewpoint, it's always the other people who are correct. Numerous predators, persecutors, large corporations, and rapacious capitalists cause tremendous agony to the defenseless. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but there was a Pride Month or something for queers a few months ago, and I saw how all the large businesses were heavily courting that audience. In reality, they are just working to improve their reputation. According to the report, white liberals are accusing big businesses, large corporations, greedy capitalists, and US imperialists, including the wealthy, powerful, and self-centered, of being the oppressors. That's pretty much a complete list of all the complaints and culprits that progressives hold accountable for the injustices that plague our disadvantaged neighborhoods, while moderates and conservatives appear to be content to watch on, focused only on their own advantages. It's all a game of agendas. White women in particular aren't exactly living in the free utopia that proponents of these causes feel we should all be. This is shown by the study, which further elaborates that it is extremely unfortunate that so many women are dealing with these problems, and that progressive women's propensity for mental illness may be used as a political tool. Do you agree? In any case, if there's anything this matter merits, it's sensitivity and empathy, neither of which I possessed in great quantities. If you have a mental disease, why should you be voting on rules that govern a nation? Especially if we have experienced our own mental health struggles, we should have compassion for these women. But at its core, progressivism is an ideology that purports to seek equality for all. The main point it makes is equality of result, and it does it with meticulous scorekeeping. You'll observe that these liberal far-leftist women enjoy keeping score a lot. The privilege between social classes, ethnicities, genders, and other groups must all be constantly watched in your dating life, and inequity must be made clear in order to hold people accountable. In all honesty, such kind of behavior is unstable in addition to being impractical. It makes sense that anxiety and despair would flourish in these circumstances. I wonder how much of this is manufactured and purposefully spread out there by these strong left-leaning liberalists. I mean, it raises the question, right? To create an unstable environment when we're focusing on every minute problematic issue in our world and not able to take comprehensive, productive action to solve these problems. They practically seem to be exploiting these individuals who are currently experiencing or have experienced anxiety or sadness, as though they were utilizing them for their own ideas and requirements. Especially the constant emphasis on verbal abuse, microaggressions, and injustice. Why don't we concentrate on it, since we are aware that developing resilience in the face of adversity is the best defense against depression and anxiety? Why don't we just create a safe environment for you here instead of just standing around and apologizing for how you're feeling right now? How about just perseverance and difficulty, right? Children who were resilient and faced challenges grew into stronger adult men when I was a child. That's just not true anymore. I think it may take a while before we go back to raising the next generations to become tougher and more aligned with their own natural tendencies. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and click the bell icon to subscribe.